Okay, the question on doing really quick scenes is how much information are you kind of willing to accept in terms of the amount of kind of detailing and texturing and all those other types of issues that come along with visual creations. Are you willing to kind of bypass in terms of expediency? And my answer is almost none. I want it all. So let's see what we can come up with in a very quick scene. Okay, now this is I'm going into this scene with some Memento inks. Okay, and I'm just using the re-inker fluid. The re-inker fluids really separate, and one of these days I don't know, kind of have a little bit more control over it than what I have now, which is like no control at all. So I'm just going for this kind of amorphic, I don't know, background texturing that I think might be kind of cool, but I don't know if I can achieve. And that's the truth. I haven't really done this before, and I'm just kind of experimenting around. I've always loved watercolors, and I love that that salt surface technique that they do, which I've never done. I've taken, I don't know, I don't think I took a watercolor class, but I think in my drawing and painting class we used it. And, you know, I was really bad. You know, because I didn't really do that. And, I don't know, it was like one assignment or something like that. But I did get some interesting techniques at one point in time using some washes and whatnot that I really liked. Was I ever able to achieve it again? Probably not, you know, because it was just by chance, but it was doing some figure painting. Okay, so I'm going to just for that little background like that in the sky. Thinking about you know, things like, I don't know, starry, starry night or something like that, you know, a very feeble kind of a micro, I don't know, nod to that spirit of it, not to the visuals of it or anything like that, but kind of more, kind of like an impressionistic type of look here. And very vast, hopefully. Okay, so that is that. I just laid down some of that light blue Marby because it's a pretty bright blue and intense, is what I mean by that. Okay, now I'm just going for an all background. Some, you know, when you do these types of really fast scenes, kind of the more solid and more silhouette based in images, it's easier and faster to apply because you don't have to worry about any of the interior parts of it. Like, say a cabin has a rooftop on it, and you want that rooftop to remain nice and light or something like that. Like something is being top lit, like a ink pad like that. You can see it towards lighter up here and darker on the sides. That makes things look a little bit more dimensional when you have different values on different surfaces. Okay. But silhouettes are just solid shapes, so you don't even have to worry about any of that. You can just kind of add it all in there and it's ready to go, right? But, okay, now what I mean by my first comment is, you know, what are some of those things that you're kind of willing to overlook in terms of texturing and, you know, the different techniques that you might be using in a scene or that you might like in a scene. I like a lot of texture, so let's go in with some Dr. Martin's Bleed-Proof White. This is supposed to be kind of a sky, and then there'll be a reflection down below, okay? Now the Dr. Martin's Bleed-Proof White, it dries pretty fast. It's an opaque watercolor, for those of you who don't know. I got some pretty big blotches on here, but we'll see what my VersaFine Black can do. in terms of overlapping this, now this looks kind of anemic to me, and I don't like that too much about it. Well, it's kind of flat black, but if I spray it with a clear spray like a Krylon, I think it'll really add some zip to it, you know, in terms of the intensity. Okay, so we have our background laid out like so. Okay, and again, it's this amorphic background. I didn't get as much of that. I wanted more of that Lulu lavender in there, but I kind of covered it up with some of that other blue that I was using in there, the Paris Dusk and whatnot. So not exactly what I had in mind. I didn't have anything real specific in mind, but I'd hoped to see some different colors. But you can see a little bit of a change in hue in there in terms of the more violet-y swirl that's been created. Okay, so silhouettes, things like this with a lot of solid shape. There are some open areas in these rocks right here, but you know that I made it so little so that you can just stamp it right over things. And then if you have some of those textures that are inherent in your backgrounds, it's not really going to matter too much or at all, you know, if you just stamp this right over the top. Okay, so remember, when I stamp this out, it's not going to make those the rocks light, because we're not stamping white. Okay, so it's going to be whatever colors are down there. That's why it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's go about right like so. I'm not trying to mirror the sky from ground, because this is, again, it's more of like this abstract type of, well, not abstract, but impressionistic, you know, in terms of the colors and background and all that in there. All right, now I would have let that dry a little bit longer. That Dr. Martin's bleed proof, right, does dry really fast, but I don't know if it dries that fast. But we're just going to go and voila, no problem, right? Just stamped right over the top of it. Again, silhouettes and shape make for fast results, if that's what you're going for. Okay. Now, I'm not going to add any more color to this unless I have like maybe like a Copic, like that airbrush style system of kind of airbrushing on some tones. So we're just going to go, that was the reeds right there in the Milky, Lakeside Cove image. Now I'm going in here and just adding in a little bit more texture. I feel that it gives it a little bit of separation from land and sky in terms of the textures, which I like a lot. Yeah, in terms of differentiation, so you have the similarities in terms of, you know, all the colors that are running through there, but you get a little bit of separation in terms of the textures that you can find, and you know, having some of those rocks or whatever they might be. It could even be little lilies or something like that in the darkness. This is the leaves right here, and they represent something much closer to us, but of course they're way up high, but usually the closer things are the things down below. But what do these trees represent? But you know, there's a big tree trunk that goes way down here, right? Because this is overhanging into the scene. So, versifying is your friend in terms of coverage. You can really get things covered up really nicely with that. Okay. And I was thinking about putting this deer in here, a nice silhouette in the foreground. Well, let's see how it goes. I'll have it kind of coming in from off the page like it's looking across and enjoying the scene right along with us as viewers of the scene. Okay, I'll put this guy right over here, so... Okay, and I'm right at about the 10-minute mark. May I please have another minute? Okay, 10 minutes is kind of the goal, but alright, here is, let me get that thing flowing. These are a couple Uniball Signos. Now remember I was going for a little bit more of that violet. Well, why don't we add a little bit of this violet in the form of a gel pen, okay? And it's just going in, and I mean we have those little white specks of bleed-proof white, but why not add in these kind of, you know, very targeted marks of the gel pen. Watch out for your black in here, it's very wet. Okay, let's see if we can zoom in here a little bit. But look at these little dots like this. It's just, the scene is so textured, it's so quick to make, and you know, I mean that little swirl in the background is not a good one by me at all, but I think it looks fine in terms of this, you know, like I said, more kind of spirited, I don't know, take on, you know, sky. And these pens like this are really fun to use. If you want to add a little zip to it, you can do some kind of metallic or, I don't know, you know, different types of stars in there, which would be really fun. I don't know, let me see if this gold is working here. Some of my pens I'm finding are starting to clog on me slightly. That one is, okay. Oh, let me try this silver one here. I don't know, for some reason I find the silver ones don't clog up as much as gold. I don't know if that's just mine or whatever, or if I'm remembering it correctly. Like lay down some of these silver ones. These are, I love metallics. Okay, so what are we at? 12 minutes right there. That's not too bad, right? That's kind of fun. Let me see if I can show you the silver effects. Let's see if I can catch the light right. I put quite a bit of it in there. I don't know if I'm looking at the white when I'm doing this, or the... Okay, here we go. There's a bunch right here. See that kind of... the white ones really reflect. I can see it right here in front of me. You know, the ones that are more metallic. Right? Actually, the ones that look white, I think they're metallic. They're the ones that are kind of shining a little bit more. But those little types of touches like that are really fun for someone to receive. You know, a scene like that, and to, you know, have those little special things like that kind of shining as an extra textural statement. Okay, so anyways, there we have it. Pretty quick. I'm going to keep working with those re-inkers and doing my little swatchy things, and we could use a little bit more contrast in there. And that would be good to layer in some extra, like, really vibrant pinks or something like that underneath those blues. That would be really fun. But trying to keep this at about a, you know, I don't know, what ended up being more of like a, I don't know, whatever, 11-minute card or something like that. But not too bad as far as foreground. What is that? You know, kind of mid-ground. If it just depends if you see the sky as being a background. Sometimes I'd look at more of the imagery as, you know, background, midground, foreground, subject matter, or something like that. And I just say sky is sky. You know, it's infinity or something like that in terms of distance. But a lot of things are happening in here, and especially from a textural standpoint. Okay, a little bit of a reflective standpoint in terms of metallics, but you have a lot of elements running through here, and there's still a bit of lighting. Okay, there's some things that are lighter than other areas. Okay, so you get that little bit of oscillation. I didn't keep any true whites in here, but you don't really need it, you know. And I don't know, the darker the surfaces, the more those little white little specks show up. If we would have went darker, of course, those, you know, little textural statements and splatter painting would stand out even more. But yeah, not too bad for a really quick card. So you can do this with any type of thing too, any type of silhouette image. It's really easy to go with. Just do some kind of really kind of funky background or something like that, or you know, a lot of you are a lot better at it than I am, so just laid it something down, put something over the top of it, you know, splatter paint it all, and it all kind of comes together in the end. And then you can do all those fun little bits with your specific, you know, kind of markings with things like gel pens. So, I don't know, give it a try, see if you like it, and have some fun with it. Alright, thanks for watching.